Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Zinia and thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, welcome. Pretty much all of us are new here. This is a brand new channel, and if you have not watched my previous video just to get an update on how I started this new channel, please go check that out. I'll link it somewhere above here and please just click on it, check it out. So without further ado guys, let's just get into this video. So today you guys, we will be looking into the case, or not even a case, it's literally just another Netflix documentary that I've watched, and it really caught my eye, you guys. It's quite emotional, and if you are sensitive to child abuse or anything traumatic of that nature, please click out or please watch another video or join us again on another video. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. The name of this documentary is called Tell Me Who I Am. So the documentary is literally based on twin brothers. Their names are Marcus and Alex. So at the age of 18 years old, Alex got into a car accident. And the accident was pretty bad. So it is said that in the documentary that Alex was quite good with biking. He loved bicycles, he loved that sort of adrenaline rush. So he was on his motorbike. They didn't really disclose where he came from or that type of nitty-gritty, but he was in a motorbike accident, and when he was in the motorbike accident, he actually damaged his head. The brain injury was so bad that he actually lost his memory. You guys, imagine losing your memory. Like, that is so insane. That is so hectic. And I know there are people out there who have probably or known of someone that has lost their memory, and I cannot even imagine. I just feel so terribly bad for them. You guys, these twin brothers were quite close. They were like this, you guys. And when Alex got into the car accident, they just explained that no, I'm not sure if he collided into something. I don't know if the bike just flipped on him, but he rolled, and then obviously he had the head injury that caused him to lose his memory. So at the hospital, I don't know how many days, but it took quite a while for him to come back to conscious. And when he woke up in hospital, at the hospital bed, he woke up. He describes that he wakes up, and to his right is his brother Marcus, his identical twin brother Marcus, and to the left is another lady who is his mother, obviously, which we later found out. And the first thing he says, and the first thing he recognizes, or the first person, is Marcus, his twin brother. He's like, Marcus, how are you doing? Like, why am I here? What's going on? Obviously, he's a bit confused, and so waking up in the hospital, obviously the mom is like, okay, you do remember me, right? You know I'm your mother, because she notices that Alex only recognizes Marcus then. It's the only familiar face he knows and the only person he knows, or the name or whatever it is, and she's not even being recognized as the mother. So she's sitting there, she's like, Alex, hi, I'm your mother, hello, do you remember me? And Alex was confused. He didn't know that it was his mother. At the time, he was like, no, I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't remember you. So then time went by. He got discharged, and they described the drive home to have been, they obviously in the car, it was a bit quiet and confusing, especially for Alex. Alex was the one describing. He said that even the way home driving, he couldn't recognize what traffic lights were. Like, it was just confusing for him. It was said that he now had not the memory, but the way his mind was processing at that age, at the age of 18, it was processing as a 9-year-old. Do you get what I mean? So everything was quite new for him, quite fascinating. Like anything, like a car goes by with a drop top, he would be like, oh my god, what is that? How did it happen? So he was quite confused in that sense. So he was a bit reversed in a lot of things. Nonetheless, on the way, they drive home, and as they drive home, they were now driving home to their home, and the mother was like, okay, Alex, we're now going home. And in the car, the mother is still persisting, like, Alex, you got to remember me. Like, you do remember me, right? Like, you know I'm your mother. You don't remember the last time. You don't remember this. You don't remember. And Alex was like, no, I don't remember you. So Alex was like saying that I really don't remember you. And Marcus was like, you know what? We will just take it day by day. His twin brother, Marcus. So as they got in, driving into the neighborhood, he didn't recognize the neighborhood. He didn't recognize the street names. He couldn't recognize a lot of things. Even when they drive into the driveway, he's like, okay, this is home. Do you remember home? And he's like, no, I don't. And Alex said the first time when he saw his house or his home, he was like, this is where we live. And he was not confused, but he just realized that, okay, it's a bit daunting, it's dark, there's just grass everywhere, there's, you know, it looked not like an abandoned house, but more like your haunted type of houses. But that was all in his head. He was thinking, it looks a bit scary, but okay, if this is where I stay, then okay. And he trusted Marcus. He was like, Marcus, do we really stay here? Marcus is like, yes, this is where we live. So Marcus then breaks it down to him. Marcus is like, okay, that's the main house, but this is really where we stay. So the main house is where mom stays and the father. The twins, the brothers, they stay in the shed behind the house or next to the house or somewhere in the house, like outside, but they are not part of the house, the main house. So Marcus was explaining this to Alex, saying that, okay, this is where we stay, but that is the main house, that's where mom is. And Marcus was now just breaking down the rules of the house, saying that, okay, we don't use the front door, we never go in the house. We only go in the house when it's time for breakfast, and we use the back door, we call for mom, this is like all these rules. But Alex didn't question all of this at the time because he thought it was normal and he trusted Marcus. If Marcus says that, okay, we use the back door only and it's normal, and even if Alex should ask, why must we enter from the back door, why don't we have keys to the house, Marcus would say that because it's normal. That is what normal families do. Okay, I'm getting a bit confused. So Alex, please stay with me. If you're also a bit confused, Alex is the one that got into the car accident. Marcus is the twin brother that's now really just trying to help him through the process of getting his memory back, or at least just trying to help him remember things or trying to teach him things. So moving on, Marcus then obviously explains to him, no, this is the rules of the house, this is what we do. And when Alex said that, we went inside the house, obviously that evening to go for dinner, obviously entered through the back door, and there his father was reading a newspaper. He just put the newspaper down when they entered the house and gave him a handshake and was like, hi, I'm your father. And that was it. And Alex would describe it as he wasn't rude to him in that sense, but he was just like very cold. And the father never ever visited Alex at the hospital, even when he woke up, even when he was still like in a coma or unconscious. The father never went to visit him. The father never really went to visit him. Moving on, you guys. So Alex at this point doesn't take much, like, you guys need to remember, he doesn't know what to compare his feelings to. He doesn't know how to compare any other person's father to, you know, because he doesn't really remember anything. So moving on, you guys. So this would be Marcus's new role. Marcus's new role is now to teach Alex, and Marcus didn't mind that. Marcus was like, he would do anything for his brother. So Marcus would start teaching him how to make breakfast, teaching Alex everything, like telling him what's the street name, how to tie his shoes, how to ride a bike, how to do a lot of things that we take for granted now. And you must remember, he was 18 years old at the time, so he was quite a tall dude and grown. I think he was quite grown, and all of these things he literally had to be taught from right the beginning. Marcus would also then have to teach him how to do stuff and how to read jars. Like, okay, this is mayonnaise, this is cereal. With cereal you add milk, with that you add sugar. This is the different types of teas, this is that, whatever you need. Like, you know, trying to make him read again, telling him how to write, teaching him how to write. It was quite a mission. But obviously at that point in time, Marcus would describe and say that he would catch on quite easily. Once you teach him one thing, you don't have to repeat it too many times to him. So okay, he would come, okay, this is how you make breakfast, and he would catch that right on. Like the next day he would know how to make breakfast. So it wasn't like a repetitive trying to teach him again from scratch all over again, over and over and over again. So Marcus would really invest his time into helping his brother Alex, and Alex was trusting Marcus like with his whole life. Because, and can I tell you, I don't think I mentioned this, Alex did not even know his name. Alex didn't even know anything about himself. The only thing he remembered when he woke up was his identical twin brother Marcus. He did not know his name. He did not know how old he was. He didn't even know that they were in England. He didn't know where he was from. He didn't know anything. Do you get what I mean? The only person he relied on, the only person he knew was Marcus, his twin brother. When he woke up, he didn't even know himself. That's how serious or how deep his injuries were. Moving on, you guys, Alex would then start asking more serious questions like, okay, I get everything else, but how were we as a family? Were we a good family? Like, did we go on vacations? How was mom? How was mother? How were we as brothers? Did we have a good relationship? What kind of a child was I? You know, all those kind of questions. And Marcus would just give him positive feedback. Marcus would just say that, oh no, we were a great family, we were a stable family. We will go on vacations, we'd go to the beach in France. Guys, like, it gets deeper than this. So Marcus would say all of that, saying that they would go to the beach, they would go on vacation every year, which they did not. Marcus would say that mom was a great mom, she was a fantastic mom, she really took care of us, and Alex would just accept it and be like, okay, nice. He wouldn't ask any more questions after that. And there was this one picture of the two boys, just the two of them like at the beach, like covered in sand, playing, you know, building sand castles. And Marcus was like, here's a picture of us. We were at the beach in France, we were having a great time. We were on family vacation. And that was enough for Alex. That was enough. He was like, okay, cool, I believe you. We were a good family. But he didn't say I believe you. But obviously it was like, okay, we were a good family then. We were a nice family. And that was it. No more questions asked. One description, and that was enough for Alex, because he trusted Marcus that much. So now that he has woken up, this is now leaning into or going into his 20s, right? So at this point in time, you guys, remember he's 18 when the accident happened. So now they're going towards their 20s. And at that time, he noticed that there was a lot of adult parties at the house. When I say adult parties, I mean like parties where they were just adults. There was no young people there, maybe their mom's friends, colleagues, whatever, acquaintances. And it would be dress-up parties. And Alex would ask Marcus, like, okay, why are we never invited? Are there any kids allowed there? Marcus would be like, no, it's just adults. And this would happen like almost every week. I don't know how many times a week, but the parties were quite excessive. And Alex never thought that much into it at the time. He just thought that, okay, my mother is fun, my mother is so great, because that's also how their mother was. Their mother was so, well, in this new bubble or this new world of Alex, he would see his mother as being so lovely, so jolly. She would laugh, she would crack jokes, she would, you know, and Marcus was starting to appreciate that side of his mother. I don't think Marcus maybe experienced it before, but as Marcus would explain, he would say that was now also becoming his reality, and he wanted that. He wanted a mother that was kind to them, that would laugh with them, that would actually go out to go have dinner with them at restaurants and just be with them like a normal parent, you know, because Marcus believes that didn't really happen growing up. So in this new world of Alex is quite naive. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't remember his previous life. So he's trying to just be so jolly. Even when it's his mother's birthday, he buys a cake, he goes and he get her gifts, you know, sing for her happy birthday, like just the normal type of mother and son relationship. And Marcus, he adapted to it. He was accepting that kind of life as well. He was happy for that kind of outcome. He wasn't against it, but he welcomed it with open arms. So at this point, you guys, they are now in their mid-20s, and they are still, Marcus is still trying to, you know, they were very close even at this point, you guys. So Marcus would still try to keep Alex up to date with quite a few things, like when they go out with friends, you know, he would try and brief Alex on the side, saying that, okay, that's the two friends coming in, okay, that's John, that's Peter, don't forget they both stay in the same neighborhood, you know, trying to just update him briefly. And no one really noticed that Alex was, he had no memory of anybody, no incident, nothing. So their friends would literally come, Marcus, Alex, do you guys have to still remember the last time we went to this place and that place? We have to go back to that bar. Oh my god, do you guys remember that concert? We have to go back there. But Alex would literally also just play along and pretend that he knows, but he really didn't know much. But Marcus would be like the backup and just sort of explain to him what happened, or what happened on that trip, or who it was. But it was there was no ill intention with it. They were just trying to be nice, or just try to chat up, and what normal friends would do. So Marcus would just prep Alex along those lines so that he doesn't feel completely like an outcast. But this helped to a certain extent, but Alex still felt confused, he still felt paranoid, he still felt like he wasn't part of a lot of things because he couldn't remember it, and he described it as being very overwhelming at times. So for him, the only best way to do it was to take pictures of every single moment. At parties, he would take pictures of their friends drinking, eating, going out, just chilling, hanging out, being boys. He made sure that he is going to start taking pictures literally of everything. Even so, even more, you guys, like he had a girlfriend and he didn't even remember. So Marcus would be the one trying to explain to him, like, yo, that is Mary, your girlfriend, like you guys have been kicking it for the past 3 years or so. And he would literally have to prep Alex, and he, like, that helped Alex. That was Alex's coping mechanism. It helps. And the girlfriend also didn't pick up that Alex never knew her. The girlfriend also didn't pick up that Alex was not even aware of who she was, or their past, or their history, or, you know, he would just play along and try to make as if, oh yeah, sure, Mary, my girlfriend, I love you to bits, da 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 da. So it wasn't that obvious to many people, but Alex knew that he wasn't okay, you know. Not that he wasn't okay, but he felt quite lost. He felt like he was in a dark space because he couldn't remember a lot of things, and there were so many loving people around him, but he just couldn't place people where they needed to be placed at that point in time. His mom, a lot of things just felt, even with his mother, he didn't want to lose more time with her. He just wanted to take pictures of her. He hugged her, he kissed her as often as he could. He told her how much he loved her as much as he could. Whenever it's her birthday, he would make sure that she celebrated, you know. He would be quite cozy with her because it is his mother after all. But that's not the life that Marcus remembered. That's not really what they used to. But he was welcoming the new life, or the new mother, now that Alexis has lost his memory and came back now and want to, like, literally on a clean slate for everybody, literally for everybody. So moving on, you guys, at the age of 34, so the boys are now quite grown men. They are no longer little boys, they are now grown men. And at the age of 34, the dad was diagnosed with cancer, and the dad passes away because of this. So this one time before the dad passes on, the dad calls them into the bedroom saying that, boys, please, I need to speak to you. I'm asking for forgiveness. Would you guys please forgive me? Alex was like, of course, Dad, you died. Please go rest in eternal peace. Like, I forgive you. We forgive you. And Marcus was like, no, I don't. I don't forgive you. And he just walked out. And Alex was confused, like, Marcus, like, why are you being so mean? Like, the man is dying. Just forgive him. Why? And Marcus, and Alex could not understand why Marcus would be so cold, or he didn't have no emotion. He was like, no, I don't forgive you, and that was it. He didn't even speak about it. He just walked out, and yeah, that was it. He walked out, and Alex was so confused because he thought that, okay, yes, I get my father was strict and everything, but to not forgive him when he's on his dying bed, are you joking? So Alex was quite confused and quite upset with Marcus and didn't get it, and he felt even more confused at this point because Marcus wouldn't share a lot of things with him. So after the father dies, so now obviously the boys think that, okay, now they're going to have access to the house, they will now at least be able to go in. Nditi, the father, has died. He was the strict one out of the two parents, but none of that happened. In fact, like, security amped up even more. The mother was like, no, 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 you boys cannot come inside, please, let's keep things as normal, let's keep things as they were. Few months later, or a year or two later, the mom passes away. Like, I think she fell down the stairs or some sort, but then she passes away, and Alex was quite hurt, and Marcus didn't show no emotion. Alex, the one that lost his memory, he was quite sad. He was like, oh my god, like, we lost our mother. And he couldn't get why Marcus was so cold, why Marcus could not even show emotion, any sort of emotion, you know, so showing that he has just had a significant loss. He just lost his mother and his father not so long ago. Zero from Marcus, nothing, and that confused Alex even more. So finally, now the boys can now go into the house. Nditi, the mother, has now passed on, so there's keys, there's everything. When they entered the house, you guys, they were blown away. They couldn't believe their eyes. They entered the house. Everything was so dark. There were just spider webs everywhere. Like, there were just like money in jars everywhere around the house, and they were like, what is going on here? Like, what? They were so confused. They explored the house. They found weird things everywhere. They made it up to their parents' bedroom, and there they saw literally stuff that was unpleasant. Literally stuff that was unpleasant. Marcus and Alex described it. They walked into their parents' bedroom, and obviously, like, there were a lot of sex toys and kinky stuff lying around. So when they opened this cupboard full of these sex toys, Alex was like, oh my god, what is this? Marcus was like, ah, no, please, just push that aside, just leave it out. And then Alex thought, okay, whatever. They continued walking, and they opened up the cupboard, like their the wardrobe. They opened up the closet, opened the doors, and in the closet behind the clothes there were another two doors taking them to another cupboard, like a small little cupboard. So they opened it, and there was just a picture of the twins, of the boys, Marcus and Alex, naked but with their heads cut out of the picture. It was quite creepy. So the boys looked at it, the guys, the men, they looked at it, and they were creeped out, like, what the hell, what is this? You know, they were quite shocked. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. So they put it back. They're like, well, like, my mother was a creep, like, why would she keep something like this? So then that's when they walked out of the house. They didn't describe any more other things, but I would guess there was way more stuff that they probably discovered in that house. So you guys, so they searched the whole house, and again, in the attic, let's just say like a garage or that sort of thing, they opened up, and there were all the toys, all their books from primary school, all the gifts that they received from family members, from friends, from godmothers, whatevers, grandmothers, everybody that ever sent them gifts since they were born. Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, Halloween, whatever. It all was there in this garage, stored, but it was obviously covered with spider webs, and it was covered with dirt, but all of it was right there. And Alex was so shocked that they never actually received this. They never actually gotten a chance, or like he couldn't understand why it was saved there. And Marcus was like, yeah, like for Marcus it was like, well, Yeah, and Alex just didn't get it. He couldn't believe that if all our gifts, all our Christmas gifts were stored somewhere, what were we celebrating? What did we receive? What, like, so even more stuff confused Alex. So that is when he actually went on and he asked his brother at some point, like, were we sexually abused when we were kids? And Marcus just said, yeah, we were. And he walked off, and he did not want to touch that topic ever again. That was it for Marcus. He's just going to reveal that much of the secret, and he was never going to say anything again. Alex would try on different occasions to get more information as to what happened when they were kids, like more details, so that he can also close some of these open gaps that he has. And for Marcus now, for Alex, the one who lost his memory, he was now even more confused. He felt like his brother lied to him. So the whole memory or whatever Marcus ever told him was a lie. So now he felt like he lost his memory twice. Remember, he lost his memory. Marcus updated him on this perfect life that he had, this perfect childhood that they had. Now he just found out that it never existed. They were actually sexually abused, and now he doesn't even know, like, to what extent. He doesn't know. He feels so lost. So Alex took it upon himself to do some research, try to, but there wasn't really much. It wasn't giving Alex that information or enough to feel connected to his brother again, or at least connect his childhood again. None of that. So he did the research, and with the research he looked at old pictures of his mother, old letters of his mother. That's when he found out his mother was quite promiscuous. Like, she loved men, like she used to sleep with different types of men that was in the army at the time, who were soldiers, and she was just that girl. Like, she was just, yeah, no. He even felt like she was a sex addict, maybe. That's how bad it was, or that's how much he discovered when he was doing his research. But it still wasn't enough for Alex. It still wasn't enough for Alex. He still felt lost. He still tried to get information from his brother Marcus, but nothing would come about it. And he felt confused. All these fake memories, this fake life, like, what is real and what is not real. He didn't get it, and it affected him for the longest time. Now the men are 50 something years old. Yes, they both moved on, they got kids, they married, but there's still that part of Alex and Marcus, I would guess, that still just disconnected the two brothers. So they came to Netflix and they were prepared to share everything. Well, Marcus was now prepared to share everything with his brother. They came together, and in the interviews or in the documentary, Marcus could not even sit in front of his brother and tell him the whole story or everything that has ever happened to them. He literally had to go into a different room and speak into a camera and tell him literally every single thing that has ever happened to them. So I'm just going to insert a small clip here, and then we'll continue after this.
Would take us into her room. She would take us into her bed. She would make us touch each other. She would make us play with each other. She would touch us. She would masturbate us. She would do things that no mother should ever do to their child. And then she moved on. Not only did she want to do those things for her own gratification, she then passed us around to her friends. So she would drive us to friends' houses, have dinner and a glass of wine, and then leave us there. Never together, always on our own. And then some strange man that I'd never met and I never knew would take me into his bed and touch me and rape me and violate me for his gratification. would come and pick me up and drive me home. Never speaking, never talking. What did I do in the car? I was silent and I was quiet. And then it would happen again and again. And then she would take Alex away. I would be lying in my bed, in my room. Alex wouldn't be there. He's my twin. He would be staying with a friend. And this was something that was a normality in our life. This was something we grew up with. And we accept it. Children accept it. Children will accept anything.
So as you guys could see, Marcus was struggling to talk, you guys. You guys must know that Marcus would explain that this is a part of him that he shoved right behind his memory box. He did not want to talk about the story. He pushed it away and tried to move on with his life. And he managed it well enough. And he didn't want to open that little box any longer. But now that it's there, he was struggling. He was really struggling. So as you guys saw on the video, like, this was hectic child abuse allegations or child abuse acts towards these two kids at the time. Like, I cannot even imagine. And Marcus would even go on and say that it was so bad that the mother would literally pass them on, the two boys, pass them on to her friends so that her friends can enjoy the boys in that inappropriate way. Yo, you guys. And it is quite sad. It is quite sad to watch. It's quite sad to listen to. And in Alex's final words, he was like, he just wanted to know. He wanted to know these secrets because he wants to feel connected again to his brother, because he felt that disconnect because Marcus knew something that Alex did not, and Alex wanted to know so that they can have that bond or that connection again, because at this point Alex was not even trusting Marcus with anything. He couldn't trust Marcus because Marcus had lied to him before when he came out of hospital many years ago. So even with Marcus, he was trying to protect his brother. He didn't want his brother to know all of the dark, deep secrets. He wanted to give him a happy memory, and it turned out that it didn't really work. It did not really work for either brother. So I don't know, you guys. For me, for my personal opinion, I don't know if I would want to know that information. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. I cannot even imagine. But I do feel for both men, and I'm glad that everything is out in the open. Because Marcus would go out and say that, I know a lot of people might think that, oh, but Marcus, he was also there, you guys. Let's not forget that he was also being sexually abused as a child. Do you know what I mean? So for him, it was also quite difficult to come and open up and talk about or try to go back and relive those memories again. But it's quite hectic, you guys. It's quite deep. I mean, both men lost their childhood to their mother, and because of their own mother, they lost everything as kids, you know. I can only hope and pray that they're better people today. I'm sure they are. I mean, they seem to be doing okay. They seem to be doing well. And yeah, you guys, that was so deep. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? What would you have done, or what do you think should have happened? Should Marcus have told Alex this in the beginning? Was he doing the right job by just keeping quiet? What would you do if you had an identical twin and this is the dark, deep secret that you know? Would you tell that person? Especially now seeing that he's now doing so good with mom, like he's now kissing mom, celebrating mom, hugging mom, you know. Would you go in and say that, please stop, like, you don't want to know, let me tell you what this woman did to us? Would you be that person? Yo, I don't know, this one is a tricky one, you guys. And I know there's a book out as well. There's also a movie, but I haven't watched neither or read even the book. I only saw the documentary, so even if I missed information, you're more than welcome to fact check me down below. So yeah, that is it for today's video. Comment down below what you guys think, and please don't forget to give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe. From me to you, it's so much love. I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye.